What's good, YouTube? Anti-Yami here, back with another video. And today I've been in the lab, I've been cooking. I wanted to do something fun for some of the decks I was cooking up, and I stumbled upon the goo. This deck honestly works extremely well. Like, there's so many synergies with these two archetypes, it's actually insane. Also, shout outs to that new support we're getting up. That's why I decided to like cook this pile up. And by the way, 40 cards again. Still, I just got done beating Malice, and I've been whooping Ryzio with this deck very well. Malice is still a hard matchup for this deck because one, they can shifter you, and two, it's a combo deck. So if they combo off, most of the time you lose. And I can release some of the decks or some of the matches I played. I actually won game 3 versus Malice because I actually had there can only be one. I baited all their interruptions, and then I made a Typhon, and there can only be one, wiped their field. So it was actually insane. So, but I'm not going to show the side deck for today. Today it's just going to be the main deck. And yeah, I want you guys to understand that this is very insane. Very insane deck. So all right, let's go ahead and hop into the deck profile. There's some changes that I might add. In the main deck, there's what's that one card called? Chicken Game. I want to mess around with Chicken Game because Chicken Game is actually, I feel like it's free in White Forest, so I might mess around with that card a little bit more because it's an upstart. And in this deck you do pay a lot of life points with the traps and also with the cursed Outlands. So but yes, it's Eldlich. All right, so we got Eldlich Forest or White Eldlich or whatever. So white golden. Anyway, we have the 3 SZ. This hasn't changed. This is literally the card that you want to see. And then I'm still playing the 2 SZs. I feel like in this build you can technically bump this to 3 because you play so many like trap cards and stuff like that, but I still like the ratio of 2. Then you play the 1 Sylvie, kind of like same ratios of my last profile. And then we bumped up this card to 2. And the reason why is because it's harder to hand trap this card. The draw 1 is very strong, and it's also just a very good extender in this deck. So I do like the 2, but I feel like you can shuffle around the ratios any way you like, but this ratio has been working out the best for me. And yeah, so that's really fun. Then the honorary White Forest monster effect veiler, you can search this card in your combo if you like to. So I've just played one of it in this build. And then of course we're on the spell and trap here, woes and tells. Next we have the Eldlich engine. So now we have 2 golden lords here. I was playing one, but I noticed that one of them keeps getting banished because a lot of people are on the bestials and just random banishing, like people with SP Lord United or things of that nature. So I decided to play 2. Chaos Angel is another card that like interacts with this card very funny. So yeah, 2 is fine. It's not very great to open this card going first, but going second, it's insane. You can actually use Golden Lord's effect to pitch itself for any removal. You can hit like floodgates, you can hit like problematic cards on the field, and most importantly, you can hit detonator, which is very funny. Next, we play the triple curse Outland. This card is really insane in this version because you can pay 8, feel great. Shout out to DB Grinder. And then after that, you can use the White Forest monsters to send it for more plussing. Card is absolutely cracked in this deck. It's really broken. And then for the outlets, or I guess elixirs, I'm playing 4. So we're playing 3 Sanguines, and then we're playing the Black Awakening because it's technically a starter. So yeah, we play these 4. Also, the Sanguine cards are double traps, so you can actually pitch this and banish it on the same turn, and then set another Sanguine card, so it helps your White Forest get more traps. Next, we played the double Conquistador, and then we also played the double Arquero. I like this ratio a lot. This one is like really good versus the Fiendsmith engine, which is really funny. I have gone first, and I had like access to both these cards, and you can just pop like whatever. And then when they go into the Fiendsmith engine, you can actually just banish it with this. Harkero is like really good. I almost want to play 3 of it, but I don't want to break on too much Eldlich stuff, and it has easy access, so we don't need to play that many copies. Next, for the toy engine, we have triple toy box. Yes, we're still on the toy engine because this engine is insane, especially with Golden Lord. There's actually a really cool 2-card combo with Curse Outland and toy box, but again, if you guys want to see combos and stuff, I will post them in a different video. But yes, so we have the triple toy box here, and of course we play the tank and the 2 toy soldiers. Eldlich can actually send these cards even when Eldlich is in the graveyard. So for example, you can actually go Curse Outland, pay 8, feel great, whatever, search anything, and then you go toy box sends 2, and then you can actually send Curse Outland with like a White Forest monster. So you can like normal summon Arcia and then send Curse Outland, draw a card, and Curse Outland is gonna Foolish Barrier Golden Lord. Golden Lord can bring himself back to send Toy Soldier. Like there's a lot of like crazy lines in this deck, and it actually flows very well and very fast. Like the White Forest engine speeds up the Eldlich engine, and the Eldlich engine gives you like an insane grind game alongside with the toy box engine, also with the side of White Forest. It's like insane. So you set up all your back row, and then you set up your front row of White Forest, and it's just really hard to deal with and awkward to side deck versus. For kind of like the non-engine stuff, you got the triple Imperm. You still play the triple Dominus Purge. It comes up a lot more as popping because you play so many traps. And then rounding up for the last 40 cards here, the last 3 cards here, 40, we play Solemn Strikes. The Strikes is so broken in this format. It's so broken. So versus Ryzios and versus Malice, since these are like the 2 popular decks, you can actually Solemn Strike the Detonator. You can actually Solemn Strike the Dual Drive. You can also Solemn Strike any of the the Malice links. Because even if they, you know, banish it and stuff like that, it doesn't come back because they was improperly summoned. So you can take him out the game permanently. It's really hard for them to play through the Solemn Strikes on top of the board you make. So yeah, it's very good. Also, since they're all traps, you can actually recycle them with your White Forest engine. So very broken. Going into the links, we play 1 Link Spider. Now, I'm still working on the extra deck here. It's not perfect. There's a lot of things you want to play. I can tell you what I'm missing, because I am missing a Pleiades, and Pleiades is, I'll tell you the broken interaction with Pleiades in a second. It's actually pretty fire. So you play the 1 Link Spider because you play Eldlich cards. All the Eldlich traps are normal monsters, so you can actually Link Spider and go into an SP Lutonite if you need to. You play Silhouette Rabbit, and you notice that I'm not playing the typical targets. The Eldlich monsters are actually trap monsters. So Silhouette Rabbit is really insane to like search out the Conquistador or the Harkero. It's actually came up like almost every single game. It's crazy. And then on top of that, you can actually summon the monsters. And say for example, you can activate Harkero and banish a card from the graveyard, and then Silhouette Rabbit can pop a card on the field. So you get like a double bonus, and Rabbit stays up face up on the board, then you just keep getting value from that. It's really funny. SP Lutonite, of course, and then I know a lot of people don't know this card, but this is the Flying Mary ship, and it really only comes up like on turns like 3 or, you know, turn 4 or whatever and grind. So when your Eldlich gets banished from like the graveyard or banished on the field, you can actually bring Eldlich back with this card. So this card comes up a lot in that regards. Mostly it doesn't come up unless you do get it banished, and there's some lines where you go into this and it's cool. But for those who don't know this card, I'll go ahead and read off the effect. It takes 2 zombie monsters, by the way, and then you can target 1 level 5 or higher zombie monster in your grave or banishment. Put this card in a spell trap zone as a continuous spell, and then you can summon the monster back. And as long as you control a level 5 or higher zombie monster, this card can pop monsters on the field that has the exact same attack as Eldlich or below. So it starts popping once per turn, and the fun part is it's a continuous spell. So you know what that means. The White Forest engine can send it, Eldlich can send it. It's really broken. It's really, really good. So love this card. Very spicy tech card. Yeah, I just kind of been digging through my bulk, and I actually found this card. I was like, oh, this card's pretty cool. I actually cut the Zapper shrimp on my online testing. It never really comes up. I never really use it. I'm sure versus like Labyrinth or something, Zapper shrimp comes up in those type of matchups, but I've never found myself really going into it. I don't feel like it's very necessary, and I'm sure in some scenarios it's better to go into it, but you still win by going into the other monsters. So yeah, I just never cut it. So you can actually cut this for like Pleiades in this particular version. And there's another card I'm working with here too. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I actually want to play this card as well, the Moon Maiden, because what I've noticed, at least going second a lot, you can actually go like a Z effect and search like Sylvie, and you can like normal summon Sylvie, and if you want to, you can actually link off your Sylvie or any of your White Forest monsters into this and make it an easy SP Lord of Night for pressure. And there's other scenarios too where you would make SP Lord of Night live with this card with your other cards. So yeah, I find this came up a lot, and I never committed to putting this in my extra deck. So you can actually replace this with Zapper Shrimp, but you do need to play Pleiades, because I'll show off why Pleiades is really broken in a second. So but yeah, the extra deck is still not finalized, but it still cooks. And then of course you play the triple White Forest monsters. It's really broken. And then special tech here too, Omega. So not only that Omega can like hand loop, it's just one because we're not playing the spatter, but it can hand loop your opponent for one. And what's really cool is we're playing Eldlich cards, guys. So guess what Omega does on your opponent's standby phase? On top of it can recycle things if it gets into the graveyard, and it can hand loop on your opponent's turn. They're on their turn. These cards banish. And what Omega does is it actually puts your Eldlich monsters back into, or Eldlich traps back into the graveyard for more resource game. Actually crazy. Also, if your White Forest monsters ever get banished or whatever, you can put them back with Omega. And then also if your Golden Lords gets banished, you can also recycle them back into the graveyard that way as well. Which brings up to our next monster that is actually insane, Shin Shin. So you make Shin Shin with the level 4 tuners, and then a Eldlich trap. So the whole point of this is that when you attack, you can actually return banished monsters back into the graveyard. So it also puts back all your banished monsters if they do get banished. So like games like when you get shifted or things of that nature, or if your Golden Lord gets banished or whatever gets banished, you can actually just bring it back. Also, this is a kind of like a macros on board. So anything gets sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually banish it instead. This comes up a lot when you're fighting against what's that deck called? The Fiendsmith decks. I actually have banished Lacrimas. I actually have banished like Requiems or things of that nature with Shin Shin. And what's funny about Shin Shin is that in the grind game, you can actually send this card to the graveyard and then bring it back with its own effect, because your extra deck is so like colorful, so you can bring it back like that. So it's very broken. And then one Chaos Angel, because it's Chaos Angel. Moving on to the XYZs, we play one Babushka. This card is correct in this deck. There's some lines where you can actually go full combo, and you can actually end on Babushka with like, you end on this plus Babushka and then 5 back row set, and I promise you that this feels impossible because your opponent can't really out Babushka with 5 back row like that. So card's broken. And it's good also for going second if you can't, if you need your resources back, or if you want to grind with the Eldlich cards a little bit more, you can skip buy some time with the Babushka. It's really good. Dweller is broken. Dweller is good versus like the Fiendsmith engine, and it's good in like the mirror match and stuff like that. This card needs to get banned just like it is in the OCG. But yeah, Dweller is broken. Typhon's broken, and then you play the Verudras because it comes up not turn 1 normally, but Golden Lord is level 10, and also Chaos Angel is level 10. And in the grind game, if you ever make Verudras, you win the game. Like, if you get to the point where you make a Verudras, it just shuts down the game. It's over. Every time I make this card, I just win the game. So this is how it is. All right, guys. Well, that is the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed like the spice deck list. Trust me, give it a shot. It's actually really fun. There's some games where it's really hard going second in some scenarios, but you can still figure it out if you understand the like lines and stuff of that nature. But it's actually really fun, and give it a shot. All right, you know what, chat? I'll give you guys a side deck because, yeah, I'll give you guys a side deck. So for the side deck, you side deck triple nib. You play it like hand traps. You play the Lancias because you can still loop the Lancias, and one of your worst matchup is Malice, so you still do that. You do the Mo Charmies and the Mo Charmy because, you know, whatever. And these 3 cards are not talents. Call by the Grave. It's going to be there can only be 1 skill drain and Dozen match for, you know, certain matchups that you need to go into. So yeah, that's the good. I wasn't gonna link the side deck. I mean, it's not like it's that important or anything. It's like not crazy, but yeah. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. Have a great Christmas, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.